Today's hot take is that being a simp is actually so attractive. Guys will fully bully each other about being a simp. It's genuinely so attractive. And I just don't get why they get bullied for it. Like, it's so attractive, a guy knowing what they want and, like, being obsessed with you and, like, adoring you. Like, that's really attractive.
All right, womanese, Myron, do you have a womanese translation for us?
Please allow me to walk all over you, benefit in the process, and then reserve the right to leave you at any time because you've completely turned me off by following my lead, like the you are. This was a test, and you failed.
Yeah. I also think that there is with these chicks on the internet, they will say something like this, which is like a dog whistle for all of the simps who come and send them money and who come and give them all of this unrequited attention. And so they'll do these videos where they say simps are great, and then you'll get all of these fucking
redacted
simps coming in and giving them all of this attention and sending them money.
Well, but it's also rage bait, right? So the whole idea is to bring in. So the idea from these women, and they're not coming up with this shit themselves, right? They have producers and various people like this who give them these ideas for these videos. And the principle and the point of it is, if you enrage enough people, they come and tell you you're stupid, you're an idiot, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. This equally brings in as many white knights to come in and be like, oh, no, my lady. No, my lady. These men are just all the bad ones. They're the horrible ones. So it's almost like, in a way, by giving the attention that direction to the rage bait, you're inviting the white knights to come in and drop all that cash on these women.
You know, one thing that, like, if you look at, like, someone who's a professional simp gatherer, like an OnlyFans girl, right? Or a girl that's involved in on Twitch streaming or something like that, you'll never see them ever ostracize a group of men. Oh, I like all types of guys. Oh, you can be 5'5", you could be 5'6", you can be fat. Like, I like all types of guys. I like medium ugly guys.
Old guys, yep.
Like, and what ends up happening is, you know, they'll do this, right, to kind of, on one side, they'll do this to ensure that they're able to get a steady supply of support, whether it be financially, through other things. And what I've noticed about women, and they're way better at us than this, is they're able to put men in compartmentalized roles to serve their interests, right? And men cannot do that. Only maybe the top 1% of men can put women in, this is wife category, this is side chick category. Very few men can do that. But even average women have 3 to 5 guys that they can contact at any time that serve them some type of utility. One guy is Uber Eats, another guy is money, another guy is sex, another guy is sugar daddy, another guy is, well, you know, bank number 2, advice. Attention. Yep. And it's actually fantastic and crazy how they're able to do this. And I would argue the internet, social media, and our interconnectivity has allowed this to kind of happen on an unprecedented scale, where we've gotten to a point now, women are so brazen where they can go on the internet and say stupid shit like, oh, I love simps, and people actually believe it. And one last thing I'll kind of land my plane on this is, this kind of goes to show the nature of females. And what I mean by this is this. So on one end, they're going to say things like this, right, to come off as politically correct and polite and like an open-minded girl. But the reality is, what they're actually aroused by and what they're attracted by is far narrower than what they're telling you, and it's your job to figure it out. They're not going to tell you, because the things that turn women on are, it reveals their dark nature in general. So, like, for an example, women like it when you choke them during sex, pull their hair, call them butt. But if she was to openly say this publicly all the time, no one would take her serious, or worse yet, simps wouldn't feel like they have a chance with her. So she has to lie and say, no, I don't need the Chad to tell me that I'm a dumb bitch. I will totally take you who will value me and, you know, give me money on Twitch and all this other shit. So women are kind of in a weird spot where they can't tell you what they're really aroused by because it would make them look horrible. So they'd rather kind of go with what's politically correct, but the people that actually bite on that bait will never actually get a sexual relationship with them, which is the craziest part with her.
Are you giving too much credit there, Myron? Like, don't you think that maybe a lot of women just don't even fucking know themselves? They have no idea.
I was going to say, this is
they're just attracted to what they're attracted to, and they don't even know what that is. Oftentimes, you'll see in some of these megala breakups, as I kind of review them and look at them, that a lot of times when these women are complaining, they say these kind of vague things. I needed to find myself. I needed to get out from under this. Nothing was wrong, but something was wrong. You know what I mean? This time, they don't even know what the fuck is bothering them. They can't even articulate what the problem is and why they're so miserable.
Literally had a girl on last night. We asked her, are you single? She said, Yeah, I am. But I miss my boyfriend. You're like, okay, what happened? Or I love my boyfriend. Oh, I broke up with him. What? Yeah, I broke up with him. Why? I need to find myself. Like,
Yeah. I need to find myself.
ridiculousness. But
Yeah.
you're correct. A lot of them can't even point what they're aroused by. They need to experience it and feel it to understand it. This is why, like, when I
Right.
give women analogies, right? Like, some girl yesterday asked me, why do men want to have multiple women? And instead of telling her that, men like variety, I had to kind of womanize it, and since they're stupid. So I go, okay, how many purses do you have? Oh, I have like 5 or 10. Cool. Would it be fair to say that if you had more money, you would have more purses and or higher end purses? Yes, fair. That is the functional equivalent to how men feel with women biologically. And I had to give her that analogy in woman terms for her to understand, because another thing I've noticed with women—
Did she even understand it then?
She did, surprisingly. But I had to womanize it so she could feel it first. And this
Yeah.
is this kind of brings me to my other thing that I've kind of realized is, I think women in general lack empathy to the male experience completely. Like, they'll sit there and say that they're empathetic, but what I think they really are is they're sympathetic, but they're not empathetic whatsoever.
Well, when you make that distinction, what do you mean by that? Like,
So-
you have sympathy meaning, and then you have empathy meaning what?
Okay, sure. So when I say that women have sympathy but they don't have empathy, I mean as in, let's say you're like a fat loser guy, right? And you don't get girls, or life sucks or whatever. They'll feel sorry for you. Like, oh my God, that sucks, whatever. But they won't understand where like all the trials and tribulations you're going through, because men and women have completely different experiences. So, like, I think women are 100% capable of sympathy and feeling bad for people, right? They have compassion, but they lack empathy. And I would argue they lack empathy even more so to the male experience, because the fact that so many women, right? And I've seen you talk about this quite a bit, Andrew. I think it was when you were talking with Tommy Lahren or one of these other dumb, undercover feminists. You were basically explaining that little boys are taught from a young age how to treat women and be a gentleman.
Yeah.
But little girls are almost never taught how to properly treat a man. Yep.
Yeah. They never were taught how to treat men. And the thing is like, and how could they be? The entire public school system is run by women. The entire infrastructure is run by women. They have complete and total control of youth academia across the board. And everything is tailored towards little girls. None of it's tailored towards little boys. The truth is that, mere 200 years ago, a fist fight on the playground was no cause for concern. This was not a problem. Nobody gave a shit. In fact, sometimes the teachers would say things like, yeah, they need to do that. And they would just ignore it. Let them beat the hell out of each other. They go back to class with bloody noses, right? They're fast friends by Tuesday, because that's part of the male experience. For women, this is a level 10 crisis, right? There must be abuse at home. There must be all sorts of conditionals and neglect and this and that. And it's over psychologizing things which they don't even understand. The truth is that little boys like to wrestle and beat the hell out of each other, right? All the way up until they're, in their teens, they like to do that. And even in their late teens, they still like to do that. But the idea that this is some massive cause for concern where authorities need to get involved, and only a woman could come up with a system like that. Only women could come up with a system like that. And so, yeah, I think that the male experience is curtailed right from the beginning by the interjection of the feminine, and never anything about the masculine. So,
and one of my other points that I give as to why I think men have far more empathy than women, despite the fact that they say stupid shit like, oh, we're more emotionally intelligent, is at least with men, we have to understand them to attract them and be with them, right? Yeah. They don't have to necessarily understand us to attract us, because we are the ones that approach them. So since they're in the buyer seat, they don't really have to really qualify themselves much. Right? Obviously, if you're good with women as a guy, you understand that you do have to get them to qualify, but a lot of guys don't understand that. So I think with women, it's even worse, because they don't even got to understand us to get us, but we do have to understand them to get them to a degree. So we do have to have some semblance of empathy towards them to be able to attract them. And if we don't have it, we pay the price. We don't get girls.
Right. Well, that makes sense. Let me ask you guys a question before we move on. Did either of you make a friend in school by getting in a fight with them first? You hated each other first?
Most of my best friends.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's unique to the male experience.
Yeah.
That's unique to the male experience. That's the same thing doesn't happen with women. They don't get into fist fights and then become besties, right? That's not how it works. And it's like that kind of uniqueness to that experience is completely curtailed. And it's just one of many examples I can give for how the school system itself is set up against young men.
Andrew, I got a question for you, because I know you're well-versed in the studies too, but I've been trying to find something on this. Is there any type of documentation? Because I've always had the position that I've realized that women don't hold on to friendships as long as men do, right? Mm-hmm. Men typically tend to be friends with their childhood friends for a very long time. They can meet up after 10 years like nothing happened and watch an episode of Dragon Ball Z, right? And relive their childhood. I've noticed with women, they kind of grow out of their different friend groups. Is there anything out there that shows that men tend to hold friendships longer than women do? Or is there nothing there?
There is.
Okay.
Yes, indeed. And there's also there's also some others which, so the reason that this is contested is because I believe that the last study I read on this, it showed that women move less than men do. So men are more likely to be risk takers, so they actually move more. And so it's harder for them to connect with the same people group. But they are more likely to have longevity in friendships where they haven't seen a guy for like 5-10 years and still feel as though they're friends with them. So I think that that's an interesting dynamic.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I can send you over. There was a bunch that we were just reviewing in the Discord the other night I thought were interesting. So I'll send those over to you, man.
Yeah, because, we always see the jokes like women hate each other because they understand each other, etc. And that's kind of just something I've noticed is like, even like with my sister and other girls that I know, like they don't hold the same friend group throughout their lifetime. Where they are in life directly dictates who their friends are a lot of the time, which I thought was very interesting. And I do think also with women, they're able to, alongside with men, they're able to kind of like extract what they need from their friend group. Like they got girls that they go out with and these are the party girls. They got girls that they talk to. With men, I just, that whole user mentality isn't as prevalent, at least from what I've seen.
Gotcha.
Mystery
Jake,
for
the sake of time too, we should probably move on to the other part of the show. So we got bogged down in too much fun combo. So
yeah, I think this kind of summarizes it. If you guys can see this.
Girls! Ugh, come on, Chris. Girls are terrible. They're always backstabbing and giving each other phony compliments.
Oh, wow. You are definitely not afraid of dessert.
I wish I were secure enough to throw on any old thing and call it an outfit.
Come on. You have so much body confidence. I mean, who wouldn't with those strong legs? So muscular. I'm jealous of how thick with strength they are.
Hey, I like your tie.
Thanks.
We know how to be friends.
Yeah.
I mean, that more or less summarizes it if you ask me.